Greetings. Some events in the Bible pass through our minds, eliciting no curiosity and no questions. Apart from Jesus' work with loaves and fishes, and with the bread and wine at his Last Supper, I've rarely heard anyone speak of what he ate. Did it make any difference? Would it make a difference to us today? Does it reveal any truth to us? Let's take a look. Let's see. This is The Practicing Christian, and this week's report is, What Would Jesus Eat? Many variations exist on the question, what would Jesus do? It's a phrase coined by the Reverend Charles Sheldon, a Congregationalist minister in Topeka, Kansas, in 1886. It later gained fame in his 1896 book, In His Steps, selling 50 million copies. In the 1990s, the acronym WWJD spread to millions through T-shirts, bracelets, and so forth. Some variations, among many, have been just a bit silly, like, what would Jesus drive? But in reviewing what many practicing Christians do and pray about and research, this one seems really worthy of examination. What would Jesus eat? We often speak of trying to become more like Jesus, but the peculiarities of Western civilization have often led us to spiritualize much of our faith. Thus, to become physically or mentally more like Jesus can seem odd, if not downright irreligious. That same spiritualizing tendency can affect how we see the new commandments as well, the ones about strongly loving our God and our neighbors. Having a good feeling about them, for some Christians, substitutes for strong, hands-on love, such as Christians building housing, of which Habitat for Humanity is one of many such groups. Substituting for our lack of a physical faith leads many Christians to pray, perhaps to do no more than that, for God to feed and house and clothe the persecuted and the homeless. Not our job, we may well tell ourselves. It was in 1826 that Anselme Savarin coined the phrase, "You are what you eat," by which he and nutritionists down through Victor Lindlaw in the 1920s and 30s meant that food controls mind and health. Most now believe that 90% of the diseases we have are caused or hastened by faulty nutrition. Sugar, for example, is the poison that causes type 2 diabetes. Therefore, becoming strong and healthy, as was Jesus, would direct us to pay more careful attention to what we eat and to what we drink. To assess how our bodies are potentially designed to eat, scientists have studied our dental records and concluded that human teeth are more suited to plant-based diets with little meat, especially red meat. People of Jesus' time ate a mostly plant-based diet with little red meat or poultry. Science and religion agree then that God designed our bodies to eat mostly such a plant-based diet, just as Jesus did. Scientists work this out by studying our dental structures, which show that our teeth are designed for a primary plant diet. Our saliva, with chemicals like amylase, is designed to process mainly plants and carbohydrates. The length of our intestines also shows we're not set up to digest meat very well. So we're programmed for complex carbohydrates, not the simple ones, like flour and sugar. These people also concur that Jesus ate breakfast very early so he could have the fuel and energy for a full day's work. Walking, after all, good distances and preaching takes energy. They also believe that the key to eating like Jesus is in making lunch our biggest meal, our dinner in effect, eaten in as much of a relaxed atmosphere as possible. Some of our best conversations, though they occur after we've had lunch or dinner, or a cup of tea or coffee. Then eat a light supper at perhaps 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Our digestive systems should be not in overdrive while we're trying to sleep. So eat dinner as early in the evening as possible. Lastly, end it with a short walk. Did Jesus do this? He ate with others, which means he often had to walk home or to wherever he was staying afterwards. Very few indeed had the wealth for brightly lighted after-dark suppers. Wine played an important role in Jesus' life and health. Beer was uncommon. He and his men drank red wine with their meals. It's good for the heart, too, but don't overdo it. Jesus most likely ate a diet similar to what is now known as the Mediterranean diet. This includes foods like kale, onions, nuts, dates, figs, olives and olive oil, lentils, and soups. Jesus may have enjoyed honeycomb too. Staples in the Middle East also included radishes, pomegranates, squash, leeks, garlic, grapes, pine nuts, chickpeas, lamb, yogurt, fava beans, other kinds of beans, sesame, and peas. And of course, they also baked or broiled fish. Please note, no deep frying for Jesus. The people who study such things also note that there's almost no mention of constipation in the Bible. And that they put down to the idea that he ate the right foods. His bread was mostly 100% whole grain wheat. But he also ate foods made with whole grain, barley, oats, rye, millet, and spelt. We know the wine he drank was not unfermented grape juice, since the Hebrew word for vine is yahin, which comes from the word for ferment. But as an observant Jew, he would not have eaten pork, shellfish, reptiles, or carrion-eating animals. Please note that I waited until having described the settings in which Jesus ate before listing what he ate. This is to emphasize that eating can be, when well done, a communal, relaxed, conversational, and important exchange between men. We see this in many places in the New Testament. What we eat is secondary, but still very important, to where and with whom we eat. So eating as Jesus did is to be observing of who we're with, touching their souls with ours where possible. Eating alone or with a book or with the TV on, shh, don't talk while the program's on. That's not the best Jesus way. Serve then, be the king's right arm. Now we have a PS on this issue which has to do with last week's report on Christian divorce, where we made note of couples who were able to retrieve their marriages. The following day, this letter to the editor appeared in the New York Times, and I quote, After 8 years married, a year ago my husband and I decided to divorce. We started taking turns living in our house. One of us would stay together with our daughter. The other would go to a small rented flat. When France went on lockdown in March, we decided to confine all together in the house. Then, in 3 months' time, we discovered that we still enjoyed each other's company as well, and as much as our family life, and that we could work as a team that we had never done before. It became obvious that we still loved each other, so we got back together. The lockdown gave us perspective and time to slow down and rethink our relationships. That was written by Maria Rosa Quintero Bernabeu in Grenoble, France.